Hello and welcome back to more Prose Edda. We are getting into Asgard and the origin of the Dwarves. And then we talk about Yggdrasil, the Norns, and the three wells. So, let's go ahead and jump into this. Asgard and the origin of the Dwarves. Then Glengarry said, "What did Allfather do once Asgard was built?" High replied, "In the beginning he assigned rulers, making them to judge with him people's fate and to oversee the arrangements of the stronghold. This was done at the place called Isdaval, eternally renewing field, in the middle of the stronghold. Their first task was to build the temple where they placed their seats, 12 in addition to the Allfather's throne. That building is the best and largest on earth. Outside and inside, everything seems to be made of gold, and the place is called Gladsheim, home of joy. They built a second hall, a sanctuary which belonged to the goddess, and it was exceptionally beautiful. People called this building Vingolf, or friendly quarters. Next, they set up forges and made hammer, tongs, and anvil, and with these they fashioned all other tools. Following this, they worked metal, stone, wood, and great quantities of gold, such as that their furniture and household utensils were of gold. That age is called the Golden Age before it was spoiled by the arrival of the women who came from the giant land. Next, the gods took their places on their thrones. They issued their judgments and remembered where the dwarves had come to life in the soil under the earth like maggots in flesh. The dwarves emerged first, finding life in Ymir's flesh. They were maggots at that time, but by decision of the gods, they acquired human understanding and assumed the likeness of men living in the earth and the rocks. Modsognir was a dwarf and Durin another. So it says in the Sibyl's prophecy. Then all the powerful gods went to their thrones of fate, the most sacred gods, and decided amongst themselves that a troop of dwarves should be created from the waves of blood and from Blaine's limbs. There, in men's likeness, were made many dwarves in the earth, as Durin said. And these, says the prophetess, are the names of these dwarves: Njai, Needy, Nordri, Sudri, Austri, Vestri, Alforjof, Devalen, Nar, Nen, Nipling, Dan, Bifer, Buffer, Bombor, Nori, Ori, Owner, Owen, Maud Vitmir, Vegan, Gandalf, Vindolf, Thorin, Feely, Keely, Funden, Valley, Thror, Throen, Feck, Lit, Viter, Near, Nered, Rek Rodsvin. But these two are dwarves and they live in the rocks, whereas those mentioned before live in the grounds. Dropnir Dogvari Hauer Hogstari Lejof Gloen Dori Ori Duf Advari Heptaphili Har Sar. These came from Svaren's mound in Jorvelir, Pebble Plains, at our Vangar, mud fields, and Lofar is descended from them. These are their names: Skirper, Virper, Skafjen, I of Ingli, Ikinskjaldi, Fal, Frosty, Finn, Ginnar. Part 15. The Ash Yggdrasil, the Norns, and the Three Wells. Then Gungleri said, "Where is the central or holy place of the gods?" Hai answered, "It is at the Ash Yggdrasil. There each day the gods hold their courts." Then Gangleri asked, "What is there to tell about that place?" Then Justice High said, "The ash is the largest and the best of all trees. Its branches spread themselves over all the world and stands over the sky. 3 roots support the tree, and they are spread very far apart. One is among the Aesir, a second is among the frost giants where Ginnungagap once was. The third reaches down to Niflheim, and under this root is the well Vergamir. But Nidhogg, hateful striker, gnaws at this root from below. Under the root that goes to the frost giants is the well of Mimir. Wisdom and intelligence are hidden there, and Mimir is the name of the well's owner. He is full of wisdom because he drinks of the well from the Galar horn. Allfather went there and asked for one drink from the well, but he did not get this until he gave one of his eyes as a pledge. As it says in the Sibyl's prophecy, "Odin, I know all, and there you hid the eye in the famous well of Mimir. Each morning Mimir drinks mead from Valfather's pledge. Do you know now or what?" The third root of the ash is in heaven, and under that root is the very holy well we call the Well of Erd. There the gods have their place of judgment every day. The Aesir ride up over Bifrost, which is also called Asbru, Bridge of the Aesir. The horses of the Aesir are named as follows. Sleipnir, fast traveler, is the best. Odin owns him and he has 8 legs. The second is Glad. The third, Gilir, the fourth, Glare, the fifth, Skydbrimir, the sixth, Silfratop, the seventh, Sinir, the eighth, Gils, the ninth, Falhofnir, the 10th, Goltop, and the 11th is Letferi. Baldur's horse was burned with him. Thor, however, walks to the court, wading those rivers named as follows: Quort and Ort, and the two logs through these Thor will wade each day when he goes to judge at the Ash Yggdrasil, because the bridge of the Aesir burns with fire, holy waters seethe. Then Gangleri said, "Does fire burn over Bifrost?" Hai replied, "The red you see in the rainbow is the burning fire. The frost giants and the mountain giants would scale heaven if Bifrost could be traveled by all who wanted to do so. There are many beautiful places in heaven, and everything is divinely protected. A handsome hall stands under the ash beside the well. Out of the hall comes three maidens, one who are called Urd, fate, Verdandi, becoming, and Skuld, obligation. These maidens shape men's lives. We call them the Norns. There are yet more Norns, those who come to each person at birth to decide the length of one's life, and these are related to the gods. Others are descended from the Elves, and a third group comes down from the Dwarves, as it is said here. Born of very different parents, I believe the Norns are. They do not share kinship. Some are of the Aesir, some are of the Elves, some are the daughters of Dvalin. Then Gangleri said, "If the Norns decide the fates of men, then they do so in a terribly uneven manner. Some people enjoy a good and prosperous life, whereas others have little wealth or renown. Some have a long life, but others a short one." Hai said, "The good Norns, the ones who are well born, shape a good life. When people experience misfortune, it is the bad Norns who are responsible." Part 16, The Creatures of the Ash Tree Yggdrasil. Then Gangleri said, "What more of importance can be said about the ash?" Hai replied, "There is much to be told. An eagle sits in the branches of the ash and has knowledge of many things. Between its eyes sits the hawk called Vedirfonir, wind bleached. The squirrel called Ratatosk, or drill tooth, runs up and down the ash. He tells slanderous gossip, provoking the eagle and Nidhogg. Four stags called Dane, Dvalin, Donir, and Durthror move about in the branches of the ash, devouring the tree's foliage. In Hevergelmir, there is so many serpents with Nidhogg that no tongue can count them. As it says here, the Ash Yggdrasil endures hardship more than men know. The stag bites from above, and its sides rot. From below, Nidhogg gnaws. So it is said, more snakes lie under the Ash Yggdrasil than any old fool imagines. Goin' and mowin', they are Grofnir's sons. Grabak and Grafvolod and Ofnir and Svofnir will always, I believe, eat away at the tree's shoots. It is also said that those Norns who lived beside Urd's well draw water every day from the spring, and that they splash this mixed with the mud that lies beside the well over the ash so that the branches will not wither or decay. The water is so sacred that all things which come into the spring become as white as the membrane called scial or skin, which lies on the inside of the eggshell, as it says here. I know an ash, it is called Yggdrasil, a high holy tree splashed and coated with white clay. From it comes the dews that fall in the valley, and it will always stand green over Urd's well. People call the dew which falls to the earth honeydew, and the bees feed on it. Two birds nourish themselves in the well of Urd. These are called swans, and from them comes the species of bird with that name. Part 17. The High One tells of other places in heaven. Then Gangleri said, "You know much to tell about the heavens. Are there other significant places besides the one at Urd's well?" Hai said, "There are many magnificent places there. One is called Alfheim, Elf World. The people called the Light Elves live there, but Dark Elves live down below in the earth. They are different from the Light Elves in appearance and far more so in nature. The Light Elves are more beautiful than the sun, while Dark Elves are blacker than pitch. One place is named Breda Blick, gleaming far and wide, and no place there is more beautiful. There also is a place called Glitnir, or Radiant Place. Its walls, columns, and pillars are of red gold, and the roof is of silver. Then there is that place called Himmenbjorg. It stands at heaven's end, right at the far edge of the bridge where the Bifrost enters heaven. There is also a great place called Valaskjalf. It belongs to Odin. The gods built it and roofed it with pure silver. Inside this hall is Lidskjalf, as the throne it is called. When All-Father sits in this seat, he sees over all the world. At the southern reaches of heaven's end is a hall, the most beautiful of them all and brighter than the sun. It is called Gimli. It will remain standing when both heaven and earth are gone. The good and righteous men will inhabit that place through all ages. The Sibyl's prophecy says, "I know a hall standing fairer than the sun, better than gold at Gimli. Worthy men will live there through the days of all time, enjoying happiness." Then Gangleri said, "What will protect this place when Surt's fire burns heaven and earth?" Hai answered, "It is said that a second heaven lies to the south and above this heaven. It is called Andlong, long and wide. Still further up, there is a third heaven called Vidblain, or wide blue. We believe that this region is in heaven, but now only the light elves live there." Part 18. The origin of the wind. Then Gangleri said, "From where comes the wind? It is so strong that it whips the great oceans and stirs up fire. But as strong as it is, no one can see it. So wondrously is it made. Hai said, I can easily tell you that. At the far northern end of heaven sits a giant named Hrazavelg, or Corpse Gulper. He has the shape of an eagle, and when he beats his wings to take flight, the winds blow out from under them. As is said here, Hrazavelg he is called, who sits at heaven's end, a giant in eagle shape. From his wings, it is said the winds blow over all men. But yeah, we will go ahead and end this piece there. So yeah, we get a look at some of the beings that exist beyond the Aesir and the giants and man. We get a look at dwarves. We get a look at uh, elves, both light and dark elves. And it talks about the Norns, which, if you're an anime fan, you'll recognize Erd, Verdandi, and Skuld, or as it's known in the anime, Erd, Beldandi, and Skuld. Which, let me look back over this. I can tell you which ones take care of which section here, if I have an ability to turn the page back over. Okay. We have Erd, Fate, Verdandi, Becoming, and Skuld, Obligation. So Verdandi, Becoming, is present. Erd, Fate, would be past. And Skuld, Obligation, which is future. So yeah, they kind of represent the different, if I'm remembering this right, the different positions in time. But they decide the fates of men, whether they are wealthy or poor, live a long life or a short one. But yeah, we also mentioned the dwarves. You can see a lot of names familiar if you have read or watched Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Owen, Glowin, Dalin, Balin, you know, a lot of these are familiar names of the dwarves in the books, I should say. First The Hobbit, and then the 3 books of the Lord of the Rings. Which in it, all you've got is Gimli. All the dwarves are, the 13 dwarves are in The Hobbit. Yeah. Oh, even Gandalf is listed as a dwarf. So you can see some of the relationships where Tolkien probably got the names. But yeah, we'll go ahead and end this episode here. As always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tries to tell you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll see you all in the next episode. Until then, later.